Hello and welcome to today's podcast. I am Taylor Jackson, and thank you for joining me today for the podcast. Today I'm going to be talking with Greg Rollett one last time. This is part 3 of a 3-episode series about how to go full-time as a wedding photographer. Going full-time into a passion, a hobby like photography for I guess pretty much everyone. It starts out as a hobby that they're doing and that they love, and then it eventually turns into a business, which is a little bit of a scary step because you kind of feel like it takes away a little bit of the fun because now you're getting paid to do it. Any suggestions for people that are kind of on the verge of making that transition or are maybe a year away from going full time?
Yeah, so you do have to find a way to still keep it fun because it can get mundane. When you're shooting the same wedding at the same venue, it's Groundhog's Day, right? So finding some things to make it fun. And I think, having that vlog, that gives you full creative control and where you can add cool things to it. I think that adds an element to it that's exciting. The chase of getting new clients is always usually like exhilarating and thrilling and, signing a big deal or whatever it is. And then finding like passion projects and things like, honestly, follow Taylor Jackson. You're the perfect epitome of it because look, as a wedding photographer, you might work, you might bust your ass Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then can you jump on a plane Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and go to this cool location and film something or just go do something or go find a hobby? Like I just started doing like Ninja Warrior training. So is there like something cool that I can do? Is there a race I can go do? It doesn't matter what your thing is, but have things in life to keep your life interesting. And I don't, in the photography world, I don't know anyone who's doing it like you do it. So, you're a good person to follow. And it's not that you want to do exactly what Taylor's doing. You go to Antarctica for like a gazillion days and freeze yourself to death to get beautiful pictures of penguins, but that keeps you sharp. That keeps you on your edge. It keeps you, doing things, always trying to up your game. So that's on like the keep yourself sane and creative side. The second side from a pull the cord kind of side is that it is really tough to, it's great to start the side hustle, the side business, whatever it is while you're working a job. But at some point you have to pull the plug to get the real explosion that you want. I think the biggest regret that I have in my own life is not quitting my job sooner, because the moment that I quit my day job, like everything grew exponentially because it had to, because at the end of the month I have rent to pay and I got a wife and I got like a car bill. And if I don't make this work, you're like, oh crap. So it forces you out of your comfort zone. It forces you to go to that extra networking event. It forces you to write that extra email. It forces you to make that cold call. It forces you out of your comfort zone. And as soon as you do that, that's where the biggest growth will ever happen for you. I can say that every single one of my life events has grown my business exponentially. So the first was quitting my job. The second was buying a home. The third was when I found out I was pregnant. Well, I wasn't pregnant, but my wife was pregnant with our first kid, because you have to make it happen. And that's when you're forced to make it happen, you do things that are outside of your comfort zone that push you so much further faster. If all you want to be is a weekend warrior and you don't mind your day job and you'll shoot a wedding here or there on a Saturday, Sunday, that's great. There's also nothing wrong with that. You don't have to have 100% ambition to travel the world and make, 6 figures as a wedding photographer. But if you want to make 6 figures as a wedding photographer, at some point you got to make the jump. You got to push yourself out of that comfort zone and you got to force yourself to see how great you can really become.
Yeah. One of the things that I hear pretty consistently across a lot of the full-time wedding photographers is that the best moment of their life is when they got fired from their job or laid off, and that it was just that forced transition because it's so hard to make that jump by yourself. But when somebody forces you into it, it's, I guess, a little bit of a better situation in the future, but feels like crap probably at that time.
Oh, totally.
Is there any other advice that you have just for, we're all pretty much solo entrepreneurs in this wedding photography world. Any advice for keeping sane and striking a little bit of a work-life balance and just living an awesome life?
Yeah, find people, whether it's online or in real life, that you can connect with and that you can have open and honest conversations with. This is hard to do because as solo entrepreneurs, we are kind of in the alpha position where we're doing it all. We're doing everything. We're the marketing guy. We're the operations guy. We're the guy out in the field. Like And sometimes when you're getting paid, a couple $1,000s in a weekend, you can't turn to your friend who's making $12 an hour and be like, hey man, I just made like $5,000 this weekend. Can I talk to you about my problems? It's just, you just can't do that. So you have to find people, and you've created a couple online communities that are great for that. There's other online communities that are great for that. There's coaching groups, there's mastermind groups, there's meetup groups, but find people where you can have those conversations, because just because you're successful on one end, maybe you're starting to be unsuccessful on the health side. You're starting to gain weight or get lazy or whatever. Maybe your relationship is suffering because you haven't been home in 6 weekends because you're out shooting, photographs, but your spouse, works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and the only time to see you is on the weekends. Who can you talk to about that? So finding a group of people that you're able to have that honest, open conversation with, I think is really, really important, because it is hard when you're by yourself. It is hard when you're doing the things you think you should be doing. You're listening to a podcast like this and you're like, cool, I'm going to grind, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to do those things, but I'm lonely, but I'm tired, but I'm confused, but I don't know where to go, but I don't know who to talk to about it. So find those people. I think that's really important to keep your sanity and to keep you pushing forward, to know that we all go through that. Like, we all go through crap, what you see from me or from from Taylor in like one of his finished episodes of A Photographer In, like, don't let him fool you. He had like a 17-hour layover and, ate, cheeseburgers at 3 a.m. So that was the only food open, it's just don't look at someone's front end, like their finished edited videos, while you're on your back end eating crap, right? Because we all eat crap. Like, that's just what we do. But if you can find people who you can have that eating crap conversation with, it's going to make everything so much better.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool in the wedding photography industry that everybody is pretty friendly with one another, that even though we are technically in competition, that you can easily have friendships and kind of promote each other, because there's only so many Saturdays in the year. So you got to have somebody to refer to. And we've found kind of our best friends, and actually pretty much everyone just kind of around us slowly became a wedding photographer over time. Just because they were kind of around us and we're like, oh, like, we don't have a second photographer hired for this weekend. Like, if you want to come out and just kind of hang out. And then they come out and they're usually a pretty good photographer right off the start, and 4 or 5 more weddings into that, then they're pretty much at a professional level, specifically just like in weddings. But when you go out with a camera for 12 hours, a couple weekends a month, or a couple weekends even a year, you get really good. So involve your friends. Don't be afraid that they're going to start their own business and put you out of business, because that's not going to be the case, that everyone's going to kind of rise up together. All right, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back again tomorrow, just like every single day for the rest of time, potentially. I don't know how, like, I'll be doing this for a while, but maybe not for the rest of time, because, like, humanity and whatnot.